What are you thinking about, Jersey guy?
When the top six on this roster decide to take nights off, unlike tonight, they did just fine. Is there a way to park 26.25 million in Milwaukee and call up the Admirals' top two lines? You can't tell me you haven't thought about it with the lack of production from these guys and the dominance of yet another Admirals victory in the AHL tonight, Johnny.
Preds tie the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-3. And then everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the Columbus Blue Jackets 3-2 in a shootout, thus winning the game 4-3 final. After a disappointing night last night in Chicago, as you can see in my Preds fan reaction video to yesterday's game, this team, led by the offense that I showed wasn't doing its job, and they willed this team to the 2 points tonight. They got 2 points that they desperately needed to keep pace in the Western Conference wildcard playoff race. There were some interesting lines constructed for this game by Coach John Hynes, which included Duchesne on the fourth line between Jarnkrok and Arvidsson, and you had Ryan Johansson on the third line between Colin Blackwell and Austin Watson. Coach should be sending his players a message, methinks. But he knows how to spark them, because it didn't take very long for a certain someone to show he didn't want to be on the third line very long. As just over 30 seconds in, Blackwell's shot goes off of Merzlikins, and a rebound comes right to Ryan Johansson, who buries it to give the Preds a 1-0 lead. Ryan Ellis would get an assist on that opening goal, his first point since returning to action yesterday against Chicago after missing 20 games from injury. Thanks again for that, Corey. Just over halfway through the first period, the Preds would have a 2-on-1 into the Columbus zone as Philip Forsberg backhands it to Mikael Grinland, who buries it past Merzlikins for a 2-0 Preds lead. The period would end with the Preds up 2-0 and the Preds nearly doubling the Blue Jackets in shots 17-9. The Preds must have thought they were home and cool after that first period, because they took a large portion of the second period off, and it cost them as reality came and slapped them in the face. A minute in, Boone Jenner makes it 2-1 Preds. Just over 4 minutes later, Eric Robinson ties it, and this game is reset. With just over 5 minutes left in the second period, the Preds get a great chance to retake the lead as Colton Sissons gets a partial breakaway, but Merzlikins stops him and then follows up when Sissons goes for the rebound and keeps that out as well. A bit later, Victor Arvidsson would take a delay of game penalty as the puck appears to go off of Dubois' stick. And yes, it would be nice if the refs would have seen it, but you also know what else would have been nice? A half-decent penalty kill. Columbus would take the 3-2 lead on the ensuing power play on a goal by Emil Bemstrom. With all due respect to the Columbus Blue Jackets franchise and their fan base, this Preds team should not be losing to a bunch of AHL call-ups. Thanks to major injuries to Seth Jones and Corpusalo, this team is full of players that would normally be playing in Columbus's farm team in Cleveland. But before the second period is through, the Preds find that second gear and show they still have some life in them yet. Just over a minute left to go in the second period, Forsberg along the boards throws it at the net, and like the magic loogie out of the spitting incident in the Seinfeld episode, it comes to Mr. Clutch when it comes to big Preds goals. Colton Sissons bats it out of the air into the net past Merzlikins for a 3-3 tie. The Preds don't cave after choking away that lead, and they have life in them as it's 3-3 after 40. In the third period, along with the Blue Jackets outshooting the Preds 11-7, the Preds would have some decent scoring chances, including a 2-on-1 between Turris and Smith, but Smith just can't parry Turris' pass. In the dying minutes, the Preds with some great chances to get the walk-off goal, but Merzlikins makes a great save to stone Mikael Granlund. And for the second straight night, the Preds are off to overtime. In overtime, the Blue Jackets outshot the Preds 3-1 and had some great chances to get the victory then, but Saros was not letting them have it. Unlike last night in Chicago, when the Preds couldn't milk that last minute off of the clock, they did so tonight, and it's off to the gimmick. In the shootout, Dubois and Forsberg match goal for goal in the first round. Then Matteau and Duchesne don't score for their teams in the second round, and then Bemstrom and Turris can't be rated either in the third round. In the fourth round, Nyquist goes off the post and in past Saros, forcing Ryan Ellis to match him, or else this game would be over, and the bearded wonder matches him, and we keep playing. On the way to the 8th and deciding round tonight, Johansson was selected, and he didn't go to his go-to slow motion technique that usually works for him, and the move he chose instead didn't, and we keep playing. Finally, in the 8th round, after Saros stops Riley Nash, it's Rocco Grimaldi's turn, and it just happens to be Rocco's first shootout attempt of his NHL career, as Rocco Grimaldi descends upon Merzlikins. He picks up speed, and he gets Merzlikins to bite as he goes backhand, buries it, giving the Preds a 4-3 shootout victory! The one plus about this team this season, even though they may be lacking in other areas such as special teams, is how they perform in the second half of back-to-backs. They are now 4-2 in that second game of the back-to-back and have 4 more to go before the season is done. That shows me something, that they can still find the energy even though they may be tired from the first half of the back-to-back. Along with this current homestand, being successful in those remaining back-to-backs is going to be crucial for this team. I was worried about Saros during some parts of the second period as the Preds were giving away the lead and then fell behind. But Saros settled down quite nicely, and by the end of the shootout, after Grimaldi's goal, Saros had made 40 amazing saves for the most part. It may be Ottawa coming into town on Tuesday, but in my opinion, UC deserves to start in that game. Save Rene for the back-to-back with Edmonton and Minnesota next week. Your standings update has the Preds currently 1 point back of the Jets for the second wildcard spot with 2 games in hand on them, and they are 2 points back of the Coyotes for that first wildcard spot, and they still have as many as 4 games in hand on Arizona. With performances against cup contenders like St. Louis, Washington, and Tampa this season, this team has shown me they can compete with just about anybody. They just have to want it bad enough. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, hit like if you like this video, hit subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media links by clicking on the channel name. We all know this team has the resiliency within them to win any game. They just have to be able to flip the switch more often.